Welcome to today's lesson on the types of diffusion in human geography. Diffusion is a key concept that explains how ideas, cultural traits, technologies, and innovations spread from one place to another. Understanding the different types of diffusion helps us make sense of how cultures and societies influence each other across time and space. In this video, we'll explore four main types of diffusion: contagious, hierarchical, relocation, and stimulus diffusion. Each type of diffusion has a unique way of spreading, and the movement of people, ideas, and technologies plays a big role in shaping the world we live in. By the end of this screencast, you'll understand how ideas travel, how cultures interact, and how diffusion impacts global trends. Let's get started and dive into the fascinating world of diffusion. So, what is diffusion? Diffusion refers to the process of spreading something, whether it's an idea, a trend, a piece of technology, or even people across space and time. It is the way in which cultural, social, or technological phenomena spread from one place or group to another. In geography, we use the term diffusion to describe how things like new inventions, fashions, beliefs, and practices move across regions and influence societies. This spread isn't just about physical objects, though. It also includes the movements of ideas, skills, and social institutions, like governments or religions, from one society to another. For example, think about how religions like Christianity, Buddhism, or Islam spread across different parts of the world. Or consider the diffusion of technological innovations like smartphones, which have become part of daily life across the globe. Diffusion can occur in many different ways. It happens not only when people move, but also when they share information, when inventions are made, or when cultural trends become popular. The spread of diffusion is a fundamental concept in understanding how cultures and societies are interconnected and how they evolve over time. Throughout this screencast, we're going to dive deeper into the four main types of diffusion that geographers study. As you watch and listen, you will fill out the top graphic organizer with the names and definitions with the four types of diffusion, and the bottom chart with examples of each type. Take a moment to write down the names of each type of diffusion in the appropriate place on the top graphic organizer. Pause the video if you need to. type of diffusion seen in the McDonald's video is stimulus diffusion. In stimulus diffusion, an underlying concept or idea spreads, but the specific characteristic may be adapted or changed to fit local needs and preferences. This type of diffusion allows for creativity and flexibility, as the core idea remains the same, but certain aspects are modified to better align with local traditions, values, or environments. As seen in the McDonald's video, the spread of fast food culture is demonstrated. The underlying idea of fast food, the concept of quick, affordable meals, spread across the globe. However, McDonald's has adapted its menu to fit different cultural tastes. For instance, in India, where beef is not widely consumed due to religious beliefs, McDonald's offers a variety of vegetarian options, such as the McAloo Tikki, a potato-based burger. While the core idea of a fast food restaurant remains the same, the specific characteristics, such as the menu items, are altered to fit local customs. Stimulus diffusion can also be seen in other areas. For example, the Cherokee alphabet was an adaptation from the English alphabet, but it was modified to suit the phonetic needs of the Cherokee language. The underlying idea of creating a written language system was adopted, but the specific script was changed to reflect the sounds of the Cherokee language. Another example is hip-hop music. While hip-hop originated in the United States, its core elements like rhythm, beat, and rap have been adapted by artists in various countries, blending with local music styles. In countries like South Korea, Japan, and France, hip-hop has been integrated into local cultures with different languages and traditions influencing the music. Lastly, the concept of Santa Claus is a great example of stimulus diffusion. The figure of Santa Claus, who is largely based on Western traditions, has been adapted in many cultures around the world. In Japan, for example, Santa Claus is not associated with Christmas as a religious holiday, but rather with the idea of gift-giving, often as part of New Year's celebrations. Though the specific characteristics of Santa may vary, the underlying principle of gift-giving during the holiday season has spread globally. Through stimulus diffusion, ideas and innovations adapt to new environments, showing how cultures can transform concepts to better fit their own unique traditions and practices.
No, and I've seen all this before.
Deskins is trying to reinvent the drugway, so I
Where
don't
are all the other dresses?
We have some right here and then around. And I think it can be very interesting.
No. No, it's just baffling to me. Why is it so impossible to put together a decent run-through? You people have had hours and hours to prepare. It's just so confusing to me. Where are the advertisers?
We have some pieces from Banana Republic.
Well, we need more, don't we? Oh. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, you know me. Give me a full ballerina skirt and a hint of saloon, and I'm on board.
But do you think it's too much like...
Quoi from July? I thought that, but no, not with the right accessories. It should work.
Where are the belts for this jacket? Why is no one ready?
Here. It's a tough call. They're so different.
Something funny?
Oh. No, nothing's, it's just that both those belts look exactly the same to me, I'm still learning about this stuff and,
This stuff? Oh. Okay, I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back, but what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue, it's not turquoise, it's not lapis, it's actually cerulean. You're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns, and then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it, who showed cerulean military jackets. I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. And then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
In this segment from The Devil Wears Prada, we can see an example of hierarchical diffusion, which refers to the spread of a trend, idea, or feature from one key person or authority to other people or places. In this case, the character Miranda Priestley, as a powerful figure in the fashion industry, sets the tone for trends and decisions that influence others around her. The idea of high fashion, for example, spreads from influential figures like Miranda to others in the industry and eventually to the general public. This is a perfect illustration of how trends can move down through a hierarchy, starting from those at the top and filtering down to those who follow their lead. Hierarchical diffusion often occurs when powerful or influential people or institutions introduce new ideas or innovations, and these ideas then spread to others. One of the most common examples of hierarchical diffusion is the spread of cell phones. Initially, only the wealthy or business elites had access to mobile phones. Over time, as the technology became more affordable, cell phones spread down the social ladder, reaching middle class and even lower income people globally. Another example of hierarchical diffusion is the spread of religion. For instance, Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism all started with key figures like Jesus, Muhammad, or the Buddha, whose teachings spread to followers and eventually to larger populations. Initially, these religions were practiced by a small group of people, but as influential leaders or rulers adopted these religions, they spread to entire regions and countries. Slang is another interesting example of hierarchical diffusion. Certain phrases or terms often start with influential people, such as celebrities or social media influencers, and spread to their followers, who then pass them along to others. For example, the slang term YOLO, you only live once, became widely popular after celebrities like Drake used it in their music, and it was quickly adopted by teenagers and young adults around the world. In all these cases, hierarchical diffusion shows us how trends, ideas, and innovations can spread from the top down, from a key person or group of people in power to larger audiences. This type of diffusion highlights the role of influence and authority in shaping cultural and social movements.
Today, almost a quarter of the global population have a Facebook account, spending an average of 30 minutes a day posting, liking, and scrolling. But how did it all start? Well, let's rewind. Back in February 2004, Mark Zuckerberg and his fellow Harvard classmates launched the Facebook. This university profile page was a huge hit. Within 24 hours, 1,200 Harvard students had signed up, and a year later it was being used by nearly every single university in America. The Facebook became Facebook.com in August 2005, after the address was purchased for $200,000, and by October of that year it had gone international, used by universities across the UK. Facebook has never been short of admirers. In March 2006, it received a $1 billion offer from Yahoo, which was rejected. September that year, Facebook expanded beyond university students. So long as you had a registered email address, you could sign up, upload your most flattering profile picture, and update your status. It's still free to join because Facebook makes money through advertising revenue. In March 2007, Microsoft bought up a 1.4% stake in the company, valuing Facebook at $15 billion. By January 2009, Facebook had overtaken MySpace to become the internet's largest social network. In April 2012, Facebook snapped up the photo and video sharing app Instagram for $1 billion. Then on the 18th of May 2012, Facebook made a stock market debut priced at $42, valuing the entire company at $114 billion. at the time boasting 845 million active monthly users. The IPO raised $16 billion, making it the third largest initial public offering in US history. Despite a technical glitch on the Nasdaq on launch day and a few lawsuits along the way, Facebook is now worth around $500 billion, making it the sixth most valuable company in the States with nearly 2 billion active monthly users. Today, almost a quarter of the globe.
The type of diffusion exemplified by Facebook is contagious diffusion. Contagious diffusion is a type of expansion diffusion in which nearly all adjacent individuals and places are affected, spreading rapidly and widely. Think of it as how a virus or infection spreads from one person to another, with the idea or trend moving quickly through a large population. As shown in the video, Facebook spread by contagious diffusion in its early years. Initially, Facebook was available only to college students at certain universities. However, once it became more widely available, it spread rapidly to other colleges, high schools, and eventually to people of all ages across the globe. The platform's popularity grew exponentially as more and more people joined, much like a contagious infection spreading from one person to the next. Another example of contagious diffusion can be seen in the spread of TikTok challenges. TikTok challenges, like the Savage Challenge or Renegade Challenge, start with a few users who create a dance or activity, and then it spreads rapidly to millions of other users around the world. These challenges go viral, with people from different countries and backgrounds participating and creating their own versions. The movement is not controlled by any one person. Instead, it spreads quickly to a wide range of people, all trying out the trend. Fidget spinners are another example of contagious diffusion. In 2017, fidget spinners became a huge fad. What began as a small niche toy for people with ADHD quickly spread to children, teenagers, and even adults. The simple toy became a global sensation, found everywhere from schools to offices. The product spread rapidly because it was fun, inexpensive, and easy to share with others. Similarly, the popularity of TV shows like Game of Thrones or Stranger Things can be seen as an example of contagious diffusion. As more people watched and talked about these shows, they influenced their friends and family to start watching as well. Word of mouth, social media discussions, and online reviews helped the shows spread to larger and larger audiences. In all these cases, contagious diffusion shows how an idea, trend, or product can rapidly spread to a wide group of people in a relatively short amount of time. Unlike hierarchical diffusion, which spreads from influential figures to others, contagious diffusion spreads quickly and broadly, affecting nearly everyone in its path.
Warm, delicious pizza, piled high with glorious toppings. And we all know where it came from, don't we?
Right here. Maybe it was here.
Hold on. Wait. Was it here? You know what? Does anyone even know? Let's find out in The Secret History of Pizza. Like a good slice, the origin of pizza itself is thick with the cheese of mystery, rich with the sauce of debate. There were many pizza precursors throughout the Mediterranean. The ancient Greeks enjoyed various flatbread, going back thousands of years. Focaccia is one of the most direct ancestors of pizza. A tasty flatbread the Romans called panis focaccia. The word pizza, meaning pie, would only start to appear around 1000 AD. The dish would still be missing most of the things you might expect, like, sauce, pepperoni, cheese, basically the whole pizza. Centuries later, pizza, still just flatbread with oil and toppings, is largely considered a food for the poor, until this guy comes in, Raffaele Esposito. This pizza maker was charged with making a special pizza for Queen Margherita. And yes, attentive listeners, that name might ring a few bells, because In an effort to make a pizza worthy of his royal guests, Esposito crafted something experimental and patriotic, a pizza emblazoned with the colors of the Italian flag. He did that by flavoring with basil, mozzarella, and tomato, thus creating what we would later call the margherita pizza. And because of this moment, Esposito is credited by many as being the father of all modern pizza. Later that century, Italians started emigrating to the United States, and they brought pizza with them as a little slice of home. It wasn't long at all before American pizza developed its own distinct flavor. So, whether you like yours deep dish, wood-fired, stuffed crust, or with artisanally crafted heirloom tomato sauce, no matter which way you slice it, this pie is here to stay. Just keep the anchovies on my hand, huh?
The type of diffusion shown in the pizza video is relocation diffusion. Relocation diffusion occurs when individuals or groups move from one place to another, bringing their ideas, customs, or innovations with them. This type of diffusion happens through the actual movement of people, often due to migration or relocation. When these individuals settle in a new area, they share their cultural practices, technologies, or beliefs with the local population, which can eventually lead to the spread of these ideas in that new location. As seen in the video, pizza was brought to the United States by Italian immigrants in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. As these immigrants settled in cities like New York and Chicago, they introduced their traditional food, which quickly gained popularity among the local population. Over time, pizza became a staple in the American cuisine, and its spread didn't stop there. As American culture spread globally, so did pizza, eventually becoming so popular in many countries around the world. This spread of pizza, in this case, is an example of how food, as a part of culture, is passed on through migration and relocation. Another example of relocation diffusion is the spread of language, particularly Spanish. Spanish was carried to the Americas by Spanish colonists and explorers in the 15th and 16th centuries. As these individuals moved to the New World, they brought their language with them, and over time, Spanish became the dominant language in many parts of Central and South America. Even today, Spanish continues to be spoken by millions of people across the globe, particularly in former Spanish colonies, where it was introduced through migration and colonization. Similarly, jazz music is an example of relocation diffusion. Jazz originated in the African American communities of New Orleans in the early 20th century. As African Americans migrated to northern cities like Chicago and New York during the Great Migration, they brought jazz music with them. This new genre of music quickly spread through these cities and gained widespread popularity, influencing not only American culture, but music around the world. Baseball is another example of relocation diffusion. The game of baseball, which originated in England and the United States, spread globally as American and European immigrants brought it to various countries. Today, baseball is played professionally in countries like Japan, South Korea, and Venezuela, where it has become deeply rooted in local cultures, all thanks to the movement of people who introduced the game to new regions. In all of these examples, relocation diffusion demonstrates how the movement of people, whether through migration, colonization, or exploration, plays a critical role in the spreading of ideas, food, music, language, and sports across different parts of the world.